Well, this guy scored a D minus. I think with this guy, the best advice I can give you is walk away. Welcome to the Strong Brew, where you get answers to questions you're not supposed to ask. These are some things you may want to know about the man in your life. If you do really well in your career, will he become insecure? Will he try and use money to control you? Will he share housework or just make you do it all? In fights, when he gets angry, does he get aggressive? During intimacy, does he understand that no means no? Is he jealous, suspicious, or possessive? Will his attitude towards you change after having kids? Will he treat your parents with respect? What if you have conflicts with his parents? We tell you what you need to hear, not what you want to hear. These are things nobody else will tell you, things that are important for your future. This is a safe space for truth. No judgment, no platitudes, no login, no payment either. Our questions are from real life, but our answers come from science. Now, I built this thing, me and my husband, and honestly, we built it and we live it. We are both Stanford grads, we both have worked at Google, and we've been happily together since 1998. Along the way, we've added a son, now 13, and 4 dogs. We are genuine folks. If you're a woman trying to understand any man in your life, here is how it works. Go to www.thestrongbrew.life. Click on the Understand a Guy button there. Answer 10 questions about him. Watch a video tailored to your guy. That's all there is to it. It is completely anonymous, no login, no payment, no games, no manipulation. This analysis is obtained by combining solid trait psychology with cutting edge AI ML. We represent each person's personality with what is known as a feature vector. This has 10 elements, so our data is effectively 10-dimensional data. In case you're wondering how we can infer so much from just 10 questions, well, 10-dimensional data is very complex. There is a lot you can learn from that level of detail.
Okay, I think that does it for the preamble. Now let's plunge in. Let's start with this guy in his career. Will he go far or just talk big?
With this kind of man, you'll notice he talks a lot and likes to sound strong, but he doesn't really have the drive or energy to work hard for big dreams. He isn't putting in much effort day after day and isn't organized or focused enough to steadily climb up in his work. Be careful not to fall for promises. Judge him by what he really does, not what he says.
Can he bounce back from failure?
When things don't go as planned at work, he won't have a big emotional outburst, but don't expect him to fight to fix things either. Instead, he will likely withdraw, go quiet, and maybe even avoid dealing with the problem altogether. He tends to hide from problems rather than face them straight on.
What do people at work think of him? Do they like him?
People at work may not feel very close to him, and he probably isn't well liked or respected in the office. He doesn't go out of his way to help others or make friends, and his blunt or rude words can easily rub people the wrong way. Colleagues may see him as cold and not easy to approach.
If you do really well in your career, will he become insecure?
If you do well in your career, don't expect him to celebrate your success with open arms or big gestures. He's unlikely to feel proud or share in your happiness, but he probably won't pick fights or make a scene out of jealousy either. You may end up feeling like you're on your own, even when you have good news to share.
What if you start earning more than him?
If you earn more than him, he won't openly argue or make a big fuss, but you might notice him becoming even more distant or withdrawn. He won't really talk about how he feels, but inside he may quietly feel hurt or less important because of it. Don't expect him to share excitement for your achievements or try to match your efforts.
Next, let's talk about how he is with money. Does he overspend? Is he reckless with money?
He isn't the type to carefully plan or keep track of his money, but he also doesn't spend wildly just for fun. It's more likely that he doesn't pay much attention to his finances at all, often forgetting about bills, not setting budgets, and ignoring money matters until there's a problem. He's not going to impress you with smart saving or clever spending, but he's also not out throwing money around.
Does he show off and pretend to be richer than he is?
He isn't likely to show off or pretend he's richer than he really is. Instead, he tends to keep things simple, not caring much about looking fancy or impressing others with money. But be aware, he also doesn't put much thought into what he spends.
Is he too generous, too stingy, or just right?
He's neither especially generous nor thoughtful. He doesn't go out of his way to help people or make them feel special, and you probably won't see him treating loved ones or sharing freely, whether it's money or small acts of kindness. If you're searching for warmth, support, or a caring hand, you might feel let down by his distant and closed off approach.
Will he use money to try and control you?
He is not the type to control or hide money on purpose, but he also isn't open or talkative about it. Most likely, he just avoids discussions about finances altogether, not because he's hiding something, but because he doesn't pay much attention or doesn't see the point in sharing. You might find yourself guessing about his money situation or having to push him to talk about important things.
Let's see how this guy is with sharing housework. Will he share housework or just make you do it?
He is unlikely to step up and share the housework willingly. He doesn't have a habit of taking charge with chores or noticing what needs to be done around the house. He probably won't say outright that it's your job, but you'll find that most of the work quietly falls on you while he keeps to himself.
Will he help you or just boss you around and tell you what to do?
He is not likely to jump in and help with chores or diapers on his own. Most of the time, he'll stay in his own world, and if he does help, it's more likely to be by giving advice from the side rather than actually doing the work with you. If you dream of a partner who works alongside you and shares parenting equally, his hands off attitude might leave you feeling unsupported.
Now let's see about how this guy is during fights. In fights, does he try to understand your views or just win the fight?
He doesn't usually argue or try to win the conversation, but he also doesn't make much effort to truly understand your side. Instead of talking things through or being open to your feelings, he will likely shut down or keep his distance. He's not interested in deep discussions or finding a middle ground. Most of the time, he just avoids talking about problems altogether.
Does he become aggressive when angry?
When he's angry, he doesn't usually lash out with hurtful words or get aggressive. Instead, he tends to go quiet, pull away, and keep his feelings to himself. You might notice a cold silence or him avoiding you rather than any big outburst.
Does he have a bad temper?
He isn't the type to get angry quickly or have sudden outbursts. Most of the time, he keeps his feelings bottled up and doesn't show much emotion even when upset. This means you won't have to worry about him losing his temper often.
Will he say sorry and accept his mistakes?
He's not someone who easily says sorry or takes responsibility for his mistakes. Most of the time, if something goes wrong, he will quietly withdraw and avoid the topic altogether, rather than admit his part or make things right. He's unlikely to blame you directly, but you also won't hear him openly own up to his faults.
Next, let's talk about intimacy and physical chemistry. During intimacy, does he respect your boundaries? Does he get that no means no?
He isn't likely to push hard or argue if you set a boundary. Instead, he usually steps back and keeps to himself. He might not talk much about feelings or boundaries, but if you say no clearly, he will likely listen and not force the issue. However, don't expect him to check in on how you feel or make extra efforts to understand your comfort.
If you are not in the mood for intimacy, will he react badly?
He isn't likely to take it personally or get upset if you're not in the mood for intimacy. Instead, he will probably just pull away quietly and go about his own business rather than asking what's wrong or trying to connect emotionally. You most likely won't face arguments or guilt from him, but you also might feel a lack of care or concern about your feelings.
Can you trust him not to shame you or share your private moments, maybe love letters, photos, or videos, even after a breakup or a bad fight?
You can trust that he won't use private moments to embarrass or hurt you later. He isn't the type to bring up personal details in anger or gossip about you behind your back. You're unlikely to see him using your private moments as a weapon if you have disagreements.
Is he loyal or is he likely to want to have affairs?
He is likely to keep to himself and not actively seek attention from other women. He isn't driven by excitement or easily bored, so you won't have to worry much about him flirting or chasing others. His distant and quiet nature means he's not putting extra effort into starting new relationships.
Will he be jealous, suspicious, and try to control you?
He isn't the type to be overpossessive, jealous, or controlling. Most of the time, he keeps to himself and doesn't get worked up about what you're doing or who you're with. He doesn't show much interest in controlling your actions or checking up on you.
This guy says he is protective in a good way. Is he actually just being possessive?
No, he's not someone whose protective side hides a controlling personality. He doesn't show strong signs of wanting to manage your every move or make all the decisions for you. You won't find him acting possessive or keeping a close watch over your choices.
Now, onto the topic of kids and how this guy will be as a father. If you guys have kids, will he make you do most of the work?
He is not someone who naturally sees parenting as a team effort. Most likely, he will expect you to handle most of the work with the kids, whether it's daily chores, school matters, or emotional support. He's unlikely to step up on his own or share the load unless you tell him exactly what needs to be done.
Kids are very messy. Will he lose his temper with them?
When the kids mess up or get upset, he's unlikely to lose his temper or shout. He will usually stay calm, but instead of stepping in to help or comfort them, he might just pull away and leave you to handle the situation. He doesn't usually react strongly or emotionally, choosing to keep his distance rather than get involved.
If you guys have kids, will he still support your career?
He is unlikely to actively support you in balancing your role as a mother and your own person. He doesn't usually show much encouragement or interest in your goals, needs, or challenges. He won't try to stop you, but he also won't lift you up or make things easier for you.
Will this man say one thing early on, maybe while dating, and then later after kids and marriage change his tune and try to make you give up your career?
He's not the type to openly support your career now and then suddenly expect you to quit after having a child. In fact, he probably isn't very involved in your career decisions at all. He keeps to himself and doesn't show strong opinions or encouragement either way. Most likely, you'll be left to make those choices on your own without much input or pressure from him.
Next, let's see how this guy treats your parents. Will he be respectful with your parents?
He's more likely to just act polite on the surface with your parents rather than showing real warmth or making an effort to build a close relationship. He doesn't go out of his way to connect deeply or show special care toward family members, including yours. Conversations may stay brief and formal without much genuine interest or affection. He probably won't make much effort to adjust to your family, nor will he push them to change for him.
What if your family creates stress or interferes a bit in your lives?
If your family creates stress or interferes, he will usually handle it by staying calm and keeping to himself. He won't get into loud arguments or make a scene, but he also won't step up to solve the problem or protect you. Instead, he's likely to avoid the situation, leaving you to manage the stress alone.
Then let's analyze the role this guy's family will play in your life. Is this man modern with you, but a completely different person when other people, say his parents or bosses, are around?
He's not someone who puts on a modern face with you, but then suddenly expects you to be a traditional, supportive wife in front of his relatives. In fact, he doesn't tend to have strong expectations either way or get very involved in how you present yourself. He's unlikely to guide, support, or pressure you in family situations.
If there is tension between you and his parents, will he support you?
If there's tension, he will most likely stay out of it rather than support you or side with his family. He usually avoids getting involved in conflicts and prefers to keep a distance instead of taking a stand. You probably won't see him argue against you or openly side with them, but you also can't expect him to have your back or comfort you during stressful family moments.
Say you have a conflict with his mother, what will this guy do?
He is not really a mummy's boy, but he also isn't likely to stand up for you if there's a conflict with his mother. Instead of choosing sides, he tends to stay out of the fight altogether and keeps quiet. You probably won't see him rushing to defend his mother against you, but he also won't stand strong by your side or help resolve the situation.
Will he share all the private details of your relationship with his mother or sister?
He's not the type to share every detail of your fights or private life with his mother or sister. He usually keeps personal matters to himself and doesn't seek outside advice or involve family in your relationship issues. This means your privacy is generally safe with him, and you don't have to worry about your struggles becoming dinner table gossip.
Now let's zoom out and put it all together.
So, all in all, not looking that great. This guy scores a D minus. As I mentioned at the start, I think with such guys, the best way is to walk away. Day in and day out, being in a relationship with this man can feel a bit lonely and tiring. He keeps to himself, rarely shares his feelings, and doesn't step up to help with daily tasks or deep conversations.